30, only on Talk Sport. Great to have your company this afternoon. If I say the words ULEZ, maybe it's one word, I don't know what you want to call it, ULEZ to you, what does it do? Does it strike terror into your heart? Does it really hit you hard in the wallet? Do you think it's the best thing you've ever heard? Because the air is going to be fresher and cleaner. You're going to be wafting about the place singing The Hills Are Alive with the sound of music. You can't wait. ULEZ, you're a fan. ULEZ, it's your foe. How do you feel about it? Well, we want to discuss this with a Tory MP, that's Elliot Colburn, Conservative MP for Carshalton and Wallington. Good afternoon to you, sir. Thanks for joining me on the show.
Thanks for having me, Vanessa.
So when I say ULEZ to you, what do you feel and what do you do in response?
Dread, in one word, Vanessa, and I think a lot of my constituents would say the same. This is a £12.50 daily charge that constituents owning older vehicles would have to pay. And I think a lot of people are nervous that as soon as the camera network is installed, we will soon see the eligibility criteria expand to include more newer vehicles as well. OK, explain to whom ULEZ applies, because it's not just anybody. It's those people, isn't it, who diligently did what they were told to do and bought diesel cars because they were told that diesel cars were an absolute boon for the environment. So they trotted out and did their human best to do something wonderful for themselves and other people in the future of the planet, and now are feeling the result right in the wallet. And that's what's happened with ULEZ, isn't it? Can we hear Elliot, or has he frozen there, I wonder? We've got to try and get him back. Is he talking? Can we hear him? He's certainly nodding, but I don't know if we can hear his voice. We'll have to see whether he's twiddling about with his technology or something like that. Let's try him again. I think we can hear. Elliot, can we hear you? Yes, can you hear me okay, Vanessa?
Yes, I hear you now. That's good to say. So I said these diesel owners were only trying to do the right thing.
They were. So at the moment, it is only older vehicles that are expected to be captured by this. But as I say, there are already fears amongst many car owners that this will grow bigger and bigger as time goes on and more vehicles will be captured by the ULEZ.
For the second time in one show, I find myself an apologist for Mayor Sadiq Khan, and I find myself explaining why he would say ULEZ is a magnificent idea, and I can encapsulate that in about one sentence or less, which is it's much better for those people trying to breathe. And most of us have to breathe at some point or another, whether we want to or not. And if you fancy breathing, you need to breathe clean air, and we're already falling very foul of the restrictions and regulations about air that's fit for us to breathe. And ULEZ, he would say, and does say, is all about the air being cleaner and fresher. That's what he would say. So how could you possibly oppose cameras which are set to catch you out and make you pay the ULEZ?
Quite simply, by looking at Transport for London's own assessment that was done on the impact this would have on air quality if they brought it in. This is available on the Transport for London website. You can see there that it has absolutely no effect or negligible effect on air quality whatsoever. This isn't a Conservative spin. This is TfL and the Mayor of London telling you that their own policy is going to have next to no effect on air quality.
So what do you propose to do in Carshalton and Wallington? This is mutiny. I think you'll probably get sent to the Tower for doing this. But what you're going to attempt to subvert the rules, the laws that apply to the whole of the rest of the capital city? Has he gone?
Well, we're doing everything that we can.
I may have to go to a caller because I think we're finding it quite hard to get hold of Elliot Colburn. We'll try again. You can do the same. Let's go back to Elliot Colburn, though I think we can access, despite the variability of his technology. Elliot, how can you possibly not install ULEZ cameras if the Mayor and the regulations say you must? Is that not mutiny? Will you not end up in the Tower of London?
Well, the Conservative-run boroughs in London have already announced that they would take this action. There is already considerable amount of anger out there, and there is a group of private residents in London who are taking this decision to expand ULEZ to core because they're not sure that Sadiq Khan should have this ability to do so. My borough in London my borough in Sutton has decided to do the same. Frankly, I will believe it when I see it, given that the Lib Dems have voted in favour of this policy, so I'm a bit confused as to why they're now going in two directions. But again, there is already quite a lot of boroughs in London that have said this, and I think the mayor has to decide whether or not he wants to go down the route of engaging in extensive legal battles, or if he should go back to the drawing board and accept that this is a policy that Londoners don't want and he shouldn't implement.
On the other hand, this is a very difficult time for you to impose yet more charges on London and Greater London and its residents when the cost of living crisis is biting so badly. The NHS seems to be on its knees. Do you really want to engage the Mayor of London in a costly legal battle about ULEZ cameras? Is that a worthy use of our money or time?
I think absolutely it is, because we're talking here about a charge that if you use your car every day, you're looking at somewhere between £3,000 and £4,000 a year for the poorest Londoners who can't afford to upgrade their vehicles. And I think we've got a responsibility to protect those Londoners from a charge that they said in a consultation they didn't want and has been completely ignored.
Elliot Colburn, thank you very much indeed for joining me. That's Elliot Colburn. He's the Conservative MP for Carshalton and Wallington. Maybe you feel exactly the same about those ULEZ cameras, or maybe they haven't come for you yet, but you're dreading the day that they do.